We'll have big thinking machine learning people, big thinking HCI people, big thinking systems people, for example. So we have different kinds of research with a capital R. And then finally, you've probably heard about our super secret program, which is not so secret, called Google X. It's sort of our X Prize research programs. So most of you have probably heard about Google Glasses that was released or at least discussed recently. So that's the kind of thing that they do. Self-driving cars, massive educational programs, see-through augmented reality glasses, all that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of different kinds of research that go on. Now, one of the things I need to tell you is that we also, as you can tell by this program here, we are very interested in reaching out to the students that are coming in to be the next generation of researchers. So that's why you're here. We're really happy to have you here and have a chance to talk to you and tell you about what the kinds of things we are that we do. One of the myths that you might hear about Google is that we don't let people publish. This year, more than 300 papers have been published in the academic literature for Google. So, for example, last year I was a co-editor for a special issue of the HCI journal, issue on sense making. Lots of people here are heavily involved in making sure that we get our information out into the world. So that's one thing you shouldn't take home from here. We actually do a lot of engagement in the research community, as you see through CHI, through places like ACL or WWW or other conferences you might know about. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we have many different kinds of research that go on. Very high-level research where we're trying to characterize what millions of people do, and we have very low-level detailed research, millisecond by millisecond, how people interact with devices, how they look at the screen, how they understand what goes on. So we have a broad range of different kinds of things. So is there any kind of research you'd like to ask about that you think we may or may not do? Any questions?
Do any crowdsourcing?
Crowdsourcing. Do we do crowdsourcing? We have our own mechanical turk. It's true. It's true. Any other kind of research? Yeah.
Personal informatics.
Do we do personal informatics? Yes. We have, for example, the information privacy panels allow you to track all your searches and all that kind of stuff. So there's a bunch of work in that area. I saw a hand back there.
Ethnographic.
Ethnographic. Hi. I do a lot of that stuff. In fact, there's a bunch of people who do that kind of work inside Google. Any other one? Sure.
Education focus?
Education focus. I'm the other guy who does that. So, part of my research in doing my ethnographic studies, for example, I discovered that a lot of people actually can use search minimally competently. It's like we gave you this enormous planet-sized computer and you can only add with it. I can teach you a few other things. So that's one of the things I'm doing. So for example, one of the guys here today will be my intern working with me this summer. We'll be doing an education project.
And Peter Norvig is starting the age.
Oh yeah, and Peter Norvig just had a class where he got 100,000 students. So yeah, we're also working on the scaling of education as well. So these are all interesting areas for us. So I think we kind of cover the research gamut, right? And I hope you leave tonight convinced of that there's probably a place for your research